This is a response to a video made by I Am Sean90, where he argues that the public acceptance of global warming lags behind the scientific consensus because climate scientists will not publicly take on their skeptics. The idea being that since the evidence is so heavily in their favor, winning a public debate should be a breeze and hence the public would respond in turn. Now, for the most part, what he says is true. Most climate scientists will not debate their critics. It's also true of a lot of biologists who will not debate creationists, and a lot of historians will not debate Holocaust deniers. And there is a rationale behind this. Now, for the most part, I'll hear two reasons why they won't engage with their critics. One has to do with principle, and the other one has to do with strategy. So the first reason they usually give has to do with principle. They believe that since the evidence is so overwhelmingly in their favor, they shouldn't even have to debate, and to do so would be misleading the public. For example, a lot of biologists feel that if they go toe-to-toe with creationists, that will give their opponent's position a narrative legitimacy it does not deserve. To engage in a debate is to give the public the impression that there's actually something to debate about. Here's a clip of Richard Dawkins articulating that position, explaining why he won't debate creationists.
Why would I decline to debate with creationists? Would you, if you were a geographer, agree to have a debate with a flat earther? There comes a point when you have to say you are, by agreeing to appear on a platform with somebody like that, you are giving them status.
The second has to do with strategy. Even though these people have very good evidence for what they believe, they feel that the debate format, whether you're talking a point-counterpoint show on cable news or a formal debate, is ineffective at demonstrating that. The reason being is that their opponent can simply use his or her allotted time to throw out misinformation, which takes way longer to debunk, and by not addressing that, they give the impression to the audience that they can't. Here's a clip of Sam Harris articulating this position when it comes to religion, but it's applicable to other subjects as well.
And that's what actually it happens in debate too. There's certain people who you debate on the subject of religion who know that they can start many small fires. They're given 8 minutes for their side, and they can set 30 small fires. Half truths, untruths, stuff that you really should respond to because it's just false. But it takes you so long to put the fires out that you can basically put half of them out, and then you haven't said any of what you came to say, and then they just come back and say, well, he didn't put out fires 3, 4, 8, and 9, and so he's clearly conceded my points.
Now let's look at the merits of some of these arguments. The first one, the argument from principle, I certainly understand where they're coming from, and that's certainly applicable some of the time. For instance, when Sarah Palin challenged Barack Obama to a debate, it was so incredibly disingenuous that it didn't even deserve a response. That being said, I think overall it's a very bad reason not to debate someone. If the evidence is so strongly in your favor, you should be able to give the reasons why your position is true and not to forget those reasons. You shouldn't rely on consensus, and the best way to avoid doing that is to address your critics. The second argument, the strategic one, I actually do agree with. And that's because the debate format favors disinformation. Remember, a debate is not about determining who is right, it's about winning an argument. That's why when a debate team practices, they're given the position they have to defend beforehand, and then they come up with the reasons afterwards, rather than the other way around. That's why a very effective debate strategy is to throw out as much nonsense as possible, because your opponent will never be able to address it all. After all, it takes way longer to refute a claim than it takes to make one. Some of you may remember Thunderfoot's video series, Why Do People Laugh at Creationists, where he completely dismantled creationist claims. And he did it very well, however, it still took him about 5 minutes to take down a claim that took less than 30 seconds to make. And he did this with video and all the information at his disposal. Imagine trying to do that on a stage with an audience watching. So on the whole, I'd say debates certainly have their place, but unfortunately they're not the best tools for influencing the public.